Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. I know I haven't been here for a week. I've been very busily trying to remodel a couple bathrooms and install some safety equipment and things like that in preparation for a new member of our household to move in, my father-in-law who is 90 years old. So that's why I haven't been here. You start a project like a bathroom remodel and you think it's going to be a quick thing and it turns into a not quick thing. So sorry about that. Today on the Art Joy of Sharing live stream show, we did the theme You Have Heart. Of course, it's Valentine's Day this month, and February is just traditionally the month of expressing your heartfelt love for people. It doesn't have to be a romantic thing. I know a lot of people think that it is, but I think sending Valentine cards to whomever you want, your best friend or your whoever, is just as acceptable as to your partner or your husband, wife, whatever. Um, I love sending Valentines. In fact, I enjoy them more than Christmas cards myself, but I think it's just probably has something to do with my obsession with the shape of a heart. I just really like that shape. It's one of my favorites. So I started out with these gel prints that I made last week on Art Joy of Sharing, using a couple new StencilGirl stencils that I had purchased for Valentine's Day. And I will link the two stencils that I had bought, the heart themed ones that I had bought, below the video. And I also signed up for a little swap thing in the Stencil Girl Stencil Club to send Valentines to each other. They do something every month in that group, and it's a lot of fun. And I thought that these would be great for making the Valentines that I planned on making. Plus, I wanted to make a few extra ones for some friends, and I also need to make some birthday cards. A lot of birthdays coming up real fast. But card making today was what I decided to do. So I started out with this print, which um, is is cool, but the images are a little bit um, in, uh, illegible. They've got words on them, and also they're kind of faded looking. And I thought, it would be fun to get out some Neocolor II crayons and my water tank brush and add some colors. And on this one that I'm doing right now, I'm not even sticking with the colors that it started out with. I've got yellow and orange. You don't have to do red. You don't have to do pink for these type of cards. You can make them whatever color you want. The idea is just to express your love and gratitude for people in your life. So after I colored in and activated those water-soluble crayons, then I'm using a black Posca pen, and I also at some point use a white Posca pen. These are my fine tips. They're the ones that I use all the time to kind of trace around some of the shapes and make them stand out even more with the line work. And then I cut these three out, and I figured I would use them on some cards. So this card it started out as 8.5 by 11 cardstock, cut in half, and then folded in half. It makes it 5.5 by 4.25, which is standard A2 envelope size. That's an invitation envelope here in the United States. I'm not sure what they're called in Europe. Different different sizing in Europe. So this is a standard card size here in the United States, and I have some different envelopes in my stack here that I'm planning on using with these. And so I decided to continue to use the same two stencils, plus on this one I threw in some extra stencils. I just wanted to mess around. In our group Art Joy of Sharing over on Facebook, um, we're still continuing to talk about water soluble media this month for the month of February. So that's the reason that I'm using water soluble media, which in this case is Neocolor II crayons, for this process. I could have used acrylic paint, and I do use some acrylic paint, but I thought it would be fun to just use the crayons. You can use crayons with stencils, it's not a problem. Um, for this one, I'm just coloring through the areas and then activating the crayon over the background of this kind of coral colored cardstock. Neocolor II crayons are quite opaque, whereas a lot of water soluble media is not. It's translucent, but they're kind of opaque, and it's kind of fun to go over colored cardstock every once in a while. So then I have some black ink, that's permanent ink, and a little makeup brush to use for stenciling to add a little bit more pattern on there. I just wanted a lot of pattern on the card before I attached my heart onto there. I made a little smear there and I had to touch that up, but I just cut that out of the video. You can see I touched it back up because I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, it's water soluble media, I can smear it with a wet baby wipe. You know, I often will press things down with a baby wipe to kind of get all the bubbles out and to make sure that I don't have any extra glue around the outside edges. It's just something that I do, and so I forgot about the fact that I had used crayons on there. So then I went around the outside with a gray crayon to kind of give it a shadow, and then I wanted to brighten things up a little bit in the words that are stenciled across here, so I used my white Posca pen for that. I didn't completely color it in, I just kind of gave it some highlights and in the little dots around and things. This was my first card, and this is my first piece of art that I've done in over a week, and I fussed a lot with it because I wasn't happy with it. And I finally did end up getting to a place where this one made me happy, but at first I was like, ugh, I don't like it. So I decided to trim it down and give it a black border. Sometimes I like that look. So I was looking for the right glue. I ended up gluing on with a glue stick. I know I have a brand new bottle of tacky glue somewhere, but I couldn't find it. That's what I was planning on gluing it on with. Once I got that all glued on, I decided to darken the shadow a little bit with a different crayon that's a little bit darker, just to make that edge, um, you know, stand out from the background. So then I think I set this one aside for a while and added some stuff to it after the fact because I just still wasn't quite happy. So I moved on. This is another gel print. Remember I was gel printing last week with metallic paints from Arteza company, and this is a print on black text weight paper with metallic paint. It looks really super cool. Hard to see on the video. I wished everyone could see it. You know, even in the pictures at the end, it's still a little bit hard to see, but it's pretty cool looking with that metallic paint on top of the black. And I decided to take one of the other hearts off of the white paper and cut it out. I did some of the little words across the edge with some black ink, and then I decided to move on to a different one and kind of go more into like assembly line mode, trying to get a few things going. I used another piece of that same metallic print over black as a background for another purple one, and then now I'm moving to the other heart that I'd cut out and colored earlier. It has oranges and yellows and pinks and a little bit of a kind of a chartreuse color in the background. That was the one that I was telling you. You know, you can change the color of it. That print was so light that I didn't need to stay with the same color. So I decided to use another stencil and make an interesting background using those same crayon colors. So I colored them over the stencil, and then I used my wet baby wipe to blend and just blend them, and it makes a really cool multicolored stencil design on the background, which also matches because I use the same crayon colors. It matches. I also decided to draw a little black border around and then glue this on. And you know, it's a completely different color. It does have some pinks, but it's got other colors, and it still looks like a Valentine because it's got a Valentine shape on it. So it could be, I mean, if you really wanted to make it into a birthday card or something, you certainly could. Then I went back to this one again and decided to do some more detailing. I'm kind of working from, you know, different things back and forth, not just sticking with the same thing all the way through because I'm getting into the mood of doing something because I haven't done anything at all for a week, except for rip up linoleum, scrape, patch, take off wallpaper, paint, do some drywall patching, all that type of stuff is all I've done all week. And I'm sore and tired. Boy, I'm old, people. I'm old. So this stencil has some words on it in the background, and I decided to stencil on in white the word love on this one with some titanium white acrylic paint. Um, Pretty cool. And then I decided that the heart was too pale, so I pumped it up a little bit with some more crayon colors and blended those in, added some white splatters, and I was pretty happy with that one. That's probably my favorite one of all of them. I like the simplistic design. And I still had some of that white paint, so I decided to add a little bit more detail to the background of this one. And I put on a couple more hearts from one of the stencils. I'm basically just using the two stencils and then some other little stencils for backgrounds that are just on my desk. But the predominance of this is those two heart stencils. And crayons and white and black Posca pins. That's basically what I used. Colored cardstock and white cardstock. I cut my own cards by just cutting 8.5 by 11 paper into half to make cards. So I need 5 to send out for this one project. So I need to make one more. Still messing around a little bit with this one. But I know I'm going to make another one here in a minute. Oh yeah, I decided to add another heart to that one too because it always seems like when you put a heart into a rectangle, you have this one space or two spaces at the bottom where the heart comes down to a point, and you always have this like open space that I always feel like needs to be filled with something. So, oh, this is when I decided what I really needed was some glitter. So I added copper glitter to this one, and it made me much more happy after I did that. Copper, of course, is a warm color, and it blended in with all those colors on this card, and I thought that I don't know, I just liked it a lot better once I put the glitter on. And I also had some silver and some gold glitter. I decided to add some silver glitter to this one, and I don't think I used the gold glitter on anything. These are just glitter glues. I like glitter glue because the microfine glitter is in a gluey substance, which then completely coats it and sticks it down, and then the glitter doesn't flake. So I tend to use these types. So then I got out a couple of the other prints that had more of red colors for my last card. I cut down that one to 5 1/4 by 4 so that it has a white border around around the outside onto the card. And then I tore this piece that's got white and pink and red, that same print, but really grungy on it onto the black paper. And so I thought that would be cool. And then I picked out a piece of this paper from another print. I have a lot of these prints. I can make a lot more Valentines if I want to. And use that same crayon over the stencil, and then also some black ink stenciling on this one with the two stencils. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Tell me if you are planning on making Valentines to send to your loved ones and friends. And you can subscribe and turn on your notification bells. That's always helpful. And also, you can share this by pinning it on Pinterest or sharing it with your friends on Facebook. Those things are always very helpful. So to really pump this one up, I use my black Posca pen around the outer edge, and then I blended it. You know, it's acrylic, and can be blended with water if you do it while it's still wet, to really, really darken the edges around the word love and around the outside of the heart. And I just blended that out with my water brush, water tank brush. This is the Arteza one that I have. And that makes that word and the heart really stand out from the background, which I liked. This is probably my second favorite one of the 5 that I did today. I added some white splatter, and then I think I added a little bit of highlight with the white Posca pen, and then used silver glitter on this one, and it turned out pretty nice. So yeah, I guess I drew some lines around the edges too with a ruler, just to add an extra layer of color. I like things to have lines around them. You guys know this about me. And here's this silver glitter. I wrote over the word, and then I did some dots where I'd put the white splatters. I also added some silver splatters. So that's it for me for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.